Hi guys, today we're taking part in the Spring Flower Challenge from Crafting Together with All Brands. I'll be using lots of Pretty Gets Gritty and Dirty Gertie products. All products used will be linked in the description below. So I'm using a selection of stamps from the Pretty Connected range. They're beautiful collage style stamps that you can extend with all the little filler in stamps that you have on the sets as well. I'm using the Gritty Vintage Paste and the Drunken Dusts. Right, let's get going. So I've got an MDF tag and I'm just going to use the white gesso and put a very, very loose coat of the gesso. Once that is done, what we are going to get is some just tissue paper, normal tissue paper. I think it's from a shoebox. Always stamp on the shiny side of the tissue paper and then you don't get it to bleed. So what I'm going to do is use the lovely little filler stamps and we're going to create a little collage. So I'm going to start off with these binary numbers and I'm going to place them in a few different places, as you can see, and then I start to add in other stamps as well. So you can twist and turn your stamps to get a more organic feel and just go with however you want to do it. So let's get going with the rest of it. Once we've stamped up all our tissue paper imagery, I was just finishing off there with a few little numbers in the gaps. We just want to dry it off to make sure it's completely heat set, and then we can get going with the next stage. Right, what I'm going to be using now is a transparent gesso from Pretty Gets Gritty. I'm just going to apply it in a few places where I want to adhere the tissue paper. So you just need the tiniest little bit. It does dry quite quickly, but you will have time to apply your tissue paper. So what I'm going to do now is just to rip some pieces off. We get a lovely organic feel with nice torn edges. Nothing is too perfect. In fact, it's as I always like it to be, perfectly imperfect. So we'll just take our pieces and lay it down onto transparent gesso. If you need to add any more, you can just lift up the tissue paper and apply it. But remember, it is very, very delicate. If you oversaturate it, it will start to just shred. So very, very gently, and then give your paintbrush a little bit of a swipe over the top as well, just to make sure it's all completely adhered. So do this in a few places. So I've just stamped up the beautiful stamp from the What's Occurring, and as you can see, it's beautifully detailed. Now I'm not going to be using the full image. I am eventually going to cut this out so we do just have the flower. So what I'm going to do next is tap out some of the Drunken Dusts onto the mat and get my water brush and just start to watercolour very, very gently, starting with a wash and then adding in some deeper colours. You can mix the Drunken Dust together to create your own colours as well. once you have coloured up all your flowers and fussy cut them out, I'm just arranging them here on the desk so I can see what I've got to work with. It's up to you. You can completely decide how many flowers. If you just want to use the one, maybe the sunflower, just go ahead and do that. So what we are going to do next is I'm bringing back in the tag. I've trimmed off the edges of the tissue paper and we're going to start building a rust effect with the gritty vintage paste. So I'm starting with the walnut first, and I'm just going to add a little bit onto the desk and let it down with a bit of water just to make it a looser paste to work with. You can apply it straight from the pot. It is very thick, it is very gritty. But for smaller areas, I do like to let it down with a little bit of water. So I start to apply this with a scruffle brush. Those are the brushes that are pretty much useless in your stash now, but they are great for using with a gritty vintage paste. So we start with the walnut, and then once that's dry, we will add in the tiger and then the honey. So here comes tiger. So now we have built our lovely, lovely vintage rust. We're going to start to build our collage. So we're going to get our stringy stuff. You only need a few strands, and we're going to make a little nest with our fingers, just wrapping it around nice and loosely. And we will just adhere that with some gel medium. So a little bit onto the tag and stick that down. Once you start placing the flowers on top, this will stick it down even more. So start your collage. I'm starting off with the large sunflower, and then I'll add in all the other little flowers around it. So with the gel medium, you can change your mind at any point because it's not instant stick. So if you don't like where you've placed a flower, you can just pull it out and you can rearrange your bouquet. I've just trimmed off a little bit of the stringy stuff and we've got it all stuck down. All that's left to do now is stamp out a sentiment. So I've just edged the sentiment in black after chopping it into two, and I'm just going to decide where I would like to pop it on the composition. Now I've got it right first time this time. That's not often that happens. So we've decided where it's going. Just pop some gel medium on the back and put it into place. Now is let down some more of the tiger paste. I'm going to make it a lot looser than it was and just add some rust splatters. Once it's all dry, we have our finished piece. Thank you you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out in the description for a list of the other guys that are joining in the YouTube hop. Bye.